Okay, before something bad happens to this thing, this is the first time this thing's been all together. I don't say it's done, but it's nearly, it's 98%. Just a couple other, just maybe some little things. This is it, man. Got the cowl, got the redesign on it, and I think that looks way better, man. That looks good. Got everything on here. I like, if you look at it from the back, I like how the lines flow right down the middle of the bike. The two stripes, the scallops, and then it's got two in the front. So everything kind of flows that way, and then you got the two up here. I kind of like how that tied in. And this cowl, you can really see some of the airbrushing in here. It gives it a lot of depth and like a smoky feel to it. It just looks super good. I'm actually, although that cowl took me an extra 8 hours to redo it, at least 8 hours, I'm glad it got screwed up, because honestly it looks 100 times better than what that first design I had. I was so strung out on frickin' just working on this thing so much I couldn't even think straight when I laid out the first one. So the cowl probably needs a little bit of repositioning, but I just stuck it on there. That's the first time I've had it on there since it was painted. Got some fingerprint stuff on it. So just go through it here real quick. Oh man. We got the wheels, got the bigger tire in front. We had replaced the fender, and which is basically a stock one, but it fits it super tight. And then we polished up the fork legs. They had the original black powder coating. Replaced these because the old ones are just trashed, and that was like 16 bucks on Amazon. The lights are the same. Ronnie cleaned those up. Ronnie polished all this. We put the cowl on there. Couple of issues with this thing. The wires like to rub this, so what I ended up doing was I put a edge of a 3M. What do you call that? A 3M protective film on this edge, and I also did on the other side. But these wires I've got them restrained. I think they'll be okay. We put a longer brake line on it just to give it a little bit more room here. The factory one wasn't quite getting there. I've temporarily got this boost gauge capped off, because I'm actually gonna put the gauge up in here, but I haven't gotten to that point yet. So it's not 100% done. Of course, turbo, replaced all the hardware on the bike, nearly all of it. These are all stainless now. Did the chop on the cam cover, all new stainless hardware. Catch can with a little vent on it. Removed the pulley cover, and then put a pulley nut in there, and that looks pretty cool. It's got a new belt on it, and of course the exhaust, that's all custom made. And I ended up cleaning it up a little bit to where I actually taped off these welds, because I wanted a little bit of that weld color in there, but then it had just all this dinginess to it. I just didn't really care for it. It was cool at first, but you know, it's like when you have a baby, when you have an ugly baby, nobody wants to tell you your baby's ugly. So I feel like that's kind of what's happening here. But I cleaned it up. I taped those off, and I just brushed the middle of them. Because I mean, eventually maybe you'd just brush the whole thing, but I think for now that looks pretty cool. And then I also drilled holes in the fasteners on here and ran some wire through them. I think it's good because this plate's a little thicker, so it's not in there as deep, and You know, keeps them from, there's not really much, that thing gets so hot that these things can loosen up, and I just think it looks cool. I mean, that's a cool effect. So, and then we got the mounting bracket for the exhaust. It sounds good. We've got the ghosted American flag on this side. Just look, it's so shiny, it's hard to even capture on camera. I think it's gonna look awesome out in the sunlight. And then on this side, we've got the Puerto Rican flag ghosted in there as well. That looks really good. Had a hell of a time getting all the wires up there because I think he's got the wrong battery in this bike, and it's a little wide. So I had a hell of a time with that. We put new brake line on it. I had to relocate this because this aftermarket brake line just was back a little bit too far. It wouldn't fit in this regular location. So swing arm was repainted, and we ground off that mounting bracket for the chain for the belt guard. Belt guard's gone. The top and bottom belt guard's gone. We rebaked the black on the pulley and clean this hardware up, and then this was nearly destroyed, and I scotch brighted all that, and that turned out pretty nice. Fixed the mounting on the shocks because there's some spacers missing in there, and let's see here, covered up some bolt holes in there. I hate to see an open hole in a bike. I want to see it, you know, if there's a hole there, it needs a bolt in it. I just think that gives it a better look. Had to fix the intake. There's a fitting up in there. I had to buy a new fitting and re-tap and drill tap it, and then run a new line up to it for the, I don't really know. I'm not a turbo guy. I don't know what the hell that thing does. But anyway, it may regulate the opening of the turbo. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure this thing does that too, that bypass. But anyway, so it's got new forward controls on it, which they're the exact same ones that were on there. It's just these are new and they don't look like hell. So they're of what I would say they're of medium to low quality, but they worked for him for a long time. So let's see here, what else we got. Took off of course the rear pegs are going. Repainted the axle covers on there, and those look pretty sharp. Redid all the oil lines, got new tubing on them because the old stuff was just not good and wasn't actually holding on to the fittings on the oil tank, on the oil bag. So redid that. This, when we painted this, I took this off. I was gonna paint it black, but so I started scuffing it to, you know, so it could take paint, and ended up, like, I know it's plastic chrome, but ended up scratching it to where it looked kind of cool, so I left it. And it gets a little fingerprinty, but it looks cool. These struts, the fender struts covers, I made those from scratch. That's 1/8 inch by 1 1/4 stainless. It tapers down, and these sit on different planes, so it needs a little bend in it, which I think actually looks kind of cool. But I want something simple, and I didn't really have time to get more elaborate with it anyway, so that worked out. He had the lay down plate. I just cleaned it up a little bit and put some stuff on here to keep the wires from getting screwed up. And so all the turn signals are in here, and it's lit, of course. And then this, we begged and begged and begged, Ron and I, for him to get a new seat, and because the factory one was just completely coming apart, in my opinion. And so anyway, he surprised me with this thing. You've got this Corbin, and it's really nice, man. I mean, it looks like, almost like from here, almost looks like a flat track seat, and it's fairly comfortable. Time will tell, but it looks sharp as hell. and it fits like a glove. It snaps on there. It doesn't require a seat mount back here, which I allowed for. So we'll stick the original hardware piece in there and maybe put more of a decorative nut on there, or just a black cap, which they want $6 for at the dealership. So anyway, it's got the polished rotors on it. I bought the original. I just went out and I didn't like the hardware that they use. Most of these aftermarket wheel companies, they give you hardware that takes a small Allen, and you can't, the Allens don't hold enough torque to where you can get to the torque spec on the thing. It strips them first. So I prefer these heavy Torx fasteners, the factory ones. They will hold. So anyway, I like those, and believe it or not, Harley Davidson is not expensive when it comes to hardware. Like, I got the front and rear on there for 15 bucks, you know. So I got 4 stator bolts for $2.60, you know. So that's you know, you can buy hardware at Harley. I don't freak out about that. So let's see here. So the seat, I talked about that. The cover on here, we'd put covered up the holes for the passenger peg on it. He had this thing already. I'm okay with it. I wouldn't say I hate it at this point. I just feel like they're a little bit trendy. I prefer more old school stuff, but it looks good. You can see, you know, you can see through it. That was kind of cool look, actually. We've relocated the coil and the ignition, and these were picked out by the owner. I was against it. Give me black, maybe some red or some orange writing on it would be fine, but it doesn't look terrible, you know. He wanted them, so it just doesn't coordinate with anything else, but yeah, it's okay. I spent a bunch of time making a thing to hold this cable in place and wasn't really happy with it. I tried to put a clamp on here to hold it, but it just binds up the clutch cable. Ron came over here and just shoved it in there, and it seems to work. You know, time will tell, but I just put a little zip tie up here, and had Ron done that before, he would save me, you know, a day and a half, 2 days worth of work, easy. But we'll see if it works. Hopefully it does. We've got the Harley Davidson flush mount gas cap on here, which is sticking up right now. That I was gonna scratch that up like some of the other chrome on the bike, but it just looks so damn good on here. I can't bring myself to it, so I told him once he scratches it, then we'll scratch it, you know. So it's got dust on the tank. We got new grips for it. Haven't got those on there yet. We did new brake pads. Ron steam cleaned the calipers and everything, and they look like freaking factory brand new. And I mean, this was a bike that never got cleaned, and this thing is so crisp. I'm really surprised how good this thing looks, given that it's had a bit of a rough go. So hopefully it gets taken care of after this ordeal. But I think it's all together, and I'm gonna take it out for a ride and just see what falls off, you know. So it's cold as hell outside, but I think it's time, you know. I've been putting towels in here. It's got dust all over it, but the paint looks really good, man. And I think with that pipe on there, this thing's a pretty sweet setup. It's gonna be it's an interesting bike now. But there's been some real money put into it, you know. It's more money than it'll ever be worth, you know, but it's a hobby, and if this is what you enjoy, then the money doesn't bother you that much, you know. You don't want to get stupid, but you know, this is, I really don't know what he spent on parts, you know. I would say this is probably in the $5,000 remodel range without any of my labor, you know. So the paint alone for this bike, just materials, primer and everything, was $1,780 some just for materials, believe it or not. You know, now some of the stuff if you went to a regular painter, he could probably, you know, like I had to buy a whole quart of filler because my old stuff was bad, you know, and I only paint enough bikes where I get that 1 quart, I use half of it and it goes bad waiting for the next bike. So in that way, you know, maybe you could have done it for less, and I overdo the primer on it because I want it super flat and super slick, and I want all the stuff to be dead nuts, you know. So in that way, yeah, you could probably do it cheaper. But also, more quick, we did do this morning, I did some 3M film under here where the seat contacts the rear fender, just to keep it from getting scratched up. One thing to note, if you get one of these Corbin seats, where this thing unlocks, there's a little latch in here, and there's a it has a cable underneath it. Well, when you actuate that cable slides down and it will scratch the fender right in there, which it did on this one, but you can't see it. But we ended up cutting that wire short, putting a little bit of heat shrink over it to keep it from scratching that. You know, even you don't want to see any of your paint scratched, you know, whether you see it or not. So, but that I'm really excited to maybe see this thing in the sun. It's supposed to friggin' snow tomorrow, but I don't think maybe till the evening. So, but we'll see. I'd like to see it out in the sun. Anyway, I'm gonna take it for a spin and say a prayer for me. Hopefully nothing goes wrong. I've only ridden this bike like 1 time before this, so anyway, it's pretty cool, I think. What do you guys think? Sean's gay.